back with BOBAK FERDOWSI talking about the Mars Curiosity. Jay Moore is here with us, and we're this is exciting to me because when I'm into this. Like I look at all the videos on YouTube and stuff, but here we got the footage from you guys. You sent the footage to us.
That's right.
So now we can look at it in HD on the big screen.
But that's not it. That's you.
No, that's me. Yeah, that's not the surface of Mars. Yeah, that's me. But then we have a video. Let's have a look at the video here, and let's maybe just talk through what we are seeing here. Okay, this is
really Mars?
This is really Mars. This is a panorama that we took. Wow. We have a couple of color imagers on Mars. And then this is sort of the rover driving. It's assembled over mini sols on Mars, which are Martian days. So this is what you would see if you were looking. We have like a camera sitting on the front, facing down a little.
Yeah.
And this is us doing one of our first drill sites. And this is, I think, Winjana, which was one of the recent places where we drilled. And you can see the drill sticking out there, and there it goes into the ground.
So what are you drilling for?
Anson Williams.
Okay.
Trying to find him. What's he been up to? Yeah, what are you?
Are you drilling? You're looking for
what we're drilling for?
Organisms, bacteria.
So
life?
Curiosity, kind of, we're sort of following a procedure here.
What? That arrow pointing to something. I think
I don't know what it was.
Great import.
So we went with in the previous missions looking for water, and we found evidence that water at one point had kind of been in abundance on Mars. That there was stuff formed in the presence of water. With Curiosity, there's a drill hole, and so it's kind of highlighted for you. With Curiosity, we said let's follow the water question with was Mars ever habitable? Meaning, could it have ever supported life? And so what we do is we drill into the rock because we know the surface has been heavily radiated from the sun. It's been oxidized, which gives Mars that reddish color. But we believe that what's preserved inside the rock has a chance of telling us a story about Mars as well. And so we drill into the rock to get that, tell that story.
Was there ever life on Mars?
So we can't answer that. So we aren't looking for life, but we can tell you that somewhere around 4 billion years ago, there would have been in the area that we landed on somewhere between ankle to hip high water, and that water had all the ingredients to support life. So if you had introduced life into that water, had a chance of surviving. Now I can't answer, of course, whether there was life or not.
You should have lied and been like, oddly, frogs. Littered. You can't see behind the rover, just littered with frogs.
Let's look at some more photos here. We have some still photos, and I mean, just as we're looking at them, we can talk about the photos.
Sure.
And just talk generally about what is going on out there. Why is it important that we explore Mars? First of all,
well, I mean, for me, it's kind of one of the fundamental questions of putting our own planet in context. If you look at Mars, the gravity is about 3/8 of Earth's gravity. It's very, you and I can walk fairly comfortably around there. In fact, there's stories about people being on the moon and tripping a lot because the gravity is so low that you can't quite keep your sense of balance. But Mars would be fairly comfortable. We know 4 billion years ago it had water. We know there's still water in the ice in the polar caps today. It's not much further from the sun. Daytime temperatures are almost Earth-like. So it's one of those planets that should be very similar to us, but it's obviously, you look at a picture like this, there's no sign of life. And so I think it provides us that second data point. Wait, what?
Have you guys probably, I'm guessing he's the smartest person that's ever been on the show.
Yeah. You guys had Buzz.
Easy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Buzz on the show. Right?
Buzz Aldrin was here as well.
Yeah, but Buzz had like the technology of like a reel-to-reel tape recorder. They were just like cowboys.
He has like a PhD.
I know, but they were like cowboys, like ripping and ripping. Let's go. It's Miller time. You like you're a physicist, rocket scientist. Are you classified though?
No, I'm not.
Work on that.
Yeah.
What is this we're looking at?
So we're looking at the foothills of Mount Sharp. This is actually the area that we're headed towards. And if you look at this is one of the very first pictures we took. So when you look at this, I feel like it reminds me of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And you see that like sedimentary layers, the formation of layers over time on Mars, and that's a history of Mars that's being presented to us. So that's why we like this area. You can go down those layers and get to different time periods on Mars, and you can actually tell how Mars evolved over time. So that's why we're driving to an interesting place. And I can't wait because I think the pictures when we get there are just going to be spectacular.
BOBAK, I know it's the red planet. What's the black asphalt?
So there's it is somewhat basaltic, so like volcanic material in nature, and this is mostly windswept material. So along the foothills, there's basically over time the wind has sort of brushed stuff up against there, and that's what you see.
Let's flip through some pictures here. What's the most surprising thing that you've found so far?
Honestly, I'd like to say that the lack of surprises is the best thing about this mission, because we chose a landing site hoping that it would be habitable, hoping that it had ample evidence of water in the past, and and we do that from orbital data and we have 2 U.S. or actually now 3 U.S. missions there. There is a European mission and an Indian mission there, and we've had other U.S. missions in the past. So we use that data to kind of build a hypothesis, and then we go with curiosity to prove it. And I think that's the most amazing thing. Now, the surprises have usually been like, oh, we're having more issues than we thought, or something happens.
But you're not secretly hoping that something's going to jump out from behind a rock.
I think all of us are kind of hoping for that.
I mean, is there even an inkling of that in the back of your mind? Just a possible, like maybe you'll drill and like a little worm will come out, or like a bug flies up the landing or something.
Find like a fossil than I think we'd find like present life. But that would be amazing. I mean, listen, the idea that somewhere else in our own solar system that life could arise, that's pretty awesome to me. I mean, there's a lot of people who think that there's a potential for Mars to be this origin of life, and that meteorites brought those to Earth.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what we're looking at here. If we
this was a rock that I think some people
sort of flip
we
through
zoomed out on. I mean, when you zoom out, like, some people thought it was like a kind of a line. I think there's like sort of a tiger stripe thing going on there, but some people thought initially that
that's the middle of the day there. That's the sun hitting that.
That's the middle. Yeah, it's pretty much noonish kind of shot. Yeah.
Let's look at another shot. This is.
And so this is what we're seeing. So we see a lot of this kind of bedrock material. It's embedded rock. I don't know which neighborhood this is because I'm not the expert on the neighborhood.
What would break those rocks up, BOBAK? It seems like environmentally and cosmically, something of import must have had to have separated those rocks to put them in those square shapes.
Well, a lot of that's from cracking when the water was probably leaving the surface. So this would have been sort of like a dry bed lake.
Did the wheel of the rover had like it blew a tire? It's aluminum, right?
We haven't blown a tire. They're made out of solid blocks of aluminum. Yeah, these are carved essentially out of a solid block of aluminum, so there's no weakness. This is us in the Mars yard, so we're testing it.
Yeah. I think we actually have a photo of the actual hole in the tire.
There are now some holes that are intentional holes. The intentional holes actually are a clever engineering solution. They spell out JPL in Morse code. And then here you can see a little damage to in between the sort of what we call the grousers, the zigzag pattern on there. The damage was a little bit of a surprise. The terrain here is different than what we've seen elsewhere on Mars that we've landed. We've landed now 3 times on Mars with rovers. So it's definitely different than that. And it's sort of like the analogy we like to use is it's.
Wait a minute, that's not Mars.
This is my tire. This is my tire.
There's something with a hole in it?
This is my tire on my 1979 Camaro.
Yeah, but they're telling your car.
That's different though. That's a different tire. Let's get back to the other one.
It's the San Fernando Valley. It might as well be Mars.
But were you expecting that tire to get a hole in it?
It's definitely more accelerated than we thought. We know the tires are they will get damaged over time, but it was faster than we anticipated. And so now we're sort of managing the wheels as a resource. But the team is great at it. We're learning tricks for driving backwards to minimize the wheel damage. We've looked from orbital images to find kind of sandier places where it's easier to drive. So there's a lot of tricks that we have up our sleeve to minimize it. And the rover drivers are really, these guys are absolutely amazing.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back. It's so interesting to me. But we will.
I have a very quick question.
Save that for right after the break.